Well, hello, hello. Happy Monday to you. And if you're joining me on the replay, happy replay day to you as well. It's wonderful to start the week with you. We're live and excited to welcome you today. Today's live level up conversation.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Market updates. Award-winning financial pro. Get ready. I present to you Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Well, hello, Joshua. Hello, Vicky. Hello, friends. It's so great to see all of you here with me. As you know, I'm Winnie Sun, your host, Forbes contributor, CNBC council member, and award-winning financial pro, here to keep you on top of relevant, trending business news. And what makes it really special and really fun, especially today on a Monday, I know many of you probably had a pretty busy weekend, but I always love coming here and seeing audience feedback and just having this moment to talk together. It's so much fun. But let's start and tell you how the market closed today. Now, unfortunately, negative territory across the board. Dow closed down 62 points, Nasdaq down 83 points, and the S&P 500 also down 11 points. Definitely not the way we like to start the week, but what can we do? It is what it is, right? So certainly the U.S. stock market continued to fall today as we saw a little bit better news coming out of end of last week on the financial markets, not in life in general. But the financial markets got a little bit better at the end of the week, but it seems like we're starting on a negative today as well. Now, why I say the market did a little bit better didn't mean everything else was good, because if you probably saw last Friday, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. A 50-year-old ruling protecting a woman's right to an abortion was overturned by the Supreme Court. Yeah. So that's what occurred. And so protests have erupted nationwide. You've probably seen that in the news. Thousands of people turning out, very, very upset about this news. Now, this is going to cause health insurance coverage for abortions to be even more rare. Now, for many women who across the country who needed this service, perhaps they had options for medical insurance to cover some of this. But unfortunately, now it's going to be even more rare. Now, states regulate insurers in states where abortion is banned. So in those states, they're going to have to drop coverage of abortions to stay in compliance with different state criminal law, unfortunately. Now, there are still 6 states, so California, where I am, is one of these states. Illinois, Maine, New York, Oregon, and Washington will still require insurance companies to require abortion coverage with some stipulations, of course, on these private plans. But for those who are watching this and needing more information and maybe scared, not sure where to turn, do know that there's a lot of resources out there, and I want to share this with you. So abortionfinder.org is one of those, and there's a national network of abortion funds out there too that might be available if you are looking for support in that area. Now, on to another topic, though, is travel woes. Now, I know we're going into the July 4th weekend here, and so a lot of Americans are looking to travel soon once again. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's getting any better. And if you've talked to someone who's traveled recently or taken a flight, you've probably been hearing some pretty horrible stories. In fact, I've had several friends and contacts text me and call me on the weekend telling me about how they were stranded at airports or their 45-minute flight actually had a 2-hour delay and they were stuck in the airports. But at least 773 flights were canceled across the United States today, actually. As of this afternoon, this is according to FlightAware, but we do know that over this last weekend, 1,500 domestic flights were canceled over Saturday and Sunday. So why is that, and where is it going to be? And if things are going to get better, unfortunately, it doesn't look like that, because there's so many more higher than unplanned, I guess, unscheduled absences. A lot of medical experts are suggesting that could be because the pandemic is still upon us. And in many work groups, that's certainly the case with many, many airlines across the United States. A lot of people, pilots and flight crew, calling in sick, unable to go to work, absences all across the board, and also weather issues and air traffic control constraints as well. In fact, you may have heard United has canceled 56 flights on Saturday, 70 on Sunday, and now actually they plan to cut 12% of its daily domestic flights. And this is from its very busy Newark hub. In fact, I've flown out of Newark many times. I really actually like that airport, but it looks like not only from Newark, but from the other airlines as well. The American, other like airlines are announcing that they're going to be decreasing flights at many busy hubs across the United States just because they can't keep up. There's not enough flight crew to get everybody flying and whatnot. So unfortunately, it looks like some of these cuts are actually going to start in July, and this actually could amount to about 50 daily flights just from United alone. Now, speaking of travel, you might be also wondering, like, well, if I don't fly, do I drive? And but the thing is, like, gas prices are pretty high, right? Well, certainly that's the case, and I'm sure you've seen that if you've gone to fill up your tank this past weekend. Well, here's some good news though. If you're in the state of California, where I am, you might be getting a monetary gift from the state pretty soon. A monetary gift, like cash? Well, yes. And hopefully this is a trend to continue. Hopefully other states will see this as well. But here in California, many are going to be fortunate enough to have we're fortunate to have a budget surplus here. And so we are planning to, I guess, share some of that surplus with taxpayers. So California legislators and the governor, Gavin Newsom, has announced that they've reached a California budget deal in which most Californians are going to get some tax relief from rising food, gas prices, other costs, rent, mortgage, whatnot, due to inflation. So the vote is expected to take place later this week. But here's what we know so far. As a $17 billion inflation relief package, aka inflation relief checks. Now, this is coming from the $97 billion budget surplus that California has. This is like record breaking. It's like record setting. It's a big surplus. So here in California, these payments are going to be paid out to California taxpayers similarly to how the federal government was sending out stimulus payments, as you remember earlier on during the pandemic. Now, these are going to be based on your income, your tax filing status, your household size. So estimated 17.5 million taxpayers are estimated to be able to qualify for a rebate. And so here's what it will include. Now, do you know about 500,000 of the state's top earners aren't going to qualify, but they make a lot, so hopefully they'll be okay. But this is supposed to take place on July 1st. There's going to be a 3-tier system, and this will tell you, if you're in California, how much you'll be receiving. Now, if you are in the first tier, let's say you earn up to $75,000 a year, you're a single tax filer, okay, you'll be receiving $350 in a tax refund. Now, if you are married or you file jointly, then you can make up to $150,000 and you'll get double this. You'll get $700 as a tax refund rebate. And if you're joint and you have one dependent, that means like you file jointly and you have maybe one child, maybe 4 children, maybe 10 children, you can get as high as $1,050. So that's going to be the total. Now that's the first tier. And of course, the amounts go lower if you make more, up to until you make if you make 250,000 as a single taxpayer, or if you file jointly, you make up to 500,000 and beyond. At that point, you won't be bringing in anything. You won't be getting a rebate, but I think that kind of makes sense, right? So this definitely we think will benefit those who are lower income, right, and lower earners, as well as the middle class. So hopefully this will help a lot of people. Now, in addition to that, they are also saying that here in California, if you fill up your tank, but there's a preface, if you fill up your tank with diesel gas, they're also going to give a state diesel tax holiday, if you will. They're saying it probably may be continued all the way until the end of the year, but you also won't have to pay state tax on your diesel fuel that you pay at the pump. Now, this isn't going to be life-changing by any stretch of imagination for any individual household, because this is going to relate to about 23 cents per gallon when you fill up the tank. I don't think a lot of people are going to notice that much of this, but this is actually going to cost the state about $439 billion worth of tax on diesel gas. So I guess a lot of people in California fill up with diesel gas. So that is what it is. But there's also things. So the tax rebate plan, as you remember, there was a lot of talk in California that they were going to give out these $400 debit cards to anybody that owned a vehicle, and they were going to cap it if you own two vehicles. Now, I'm curious to see, how many of you own more than one vehicle, and you were looking forward to get this $400 debit card. I was actually thinking that'd be kind of cool to get, because I was like, would they get, like, I drive an electric car, were they actually going to give me a $400 debit card? But I guess they previously were going to do that. But unfortunately, this new agreement now bypasses that, so there will no longer be a $400 per person debit card for gas, because one of the reasons why this was sort of scrapped was because this didn't have an income limit. So they didn't feel like this was fair, right? So those who can afford to pay for their gas and their taxes, especially those earning 500,000 and beyond, they didn't really deserve a gas debit card. So they're doing it this way instead. They're making sure it's tiered, similar to the stimulus program. I'm curious to see how you feel about this. Now, I know many of you may not be in California, but how do you feel about this? Maybe this will be something coming to your state, right? Maybe California's leading initiative that perhaps will benefit you and your state in the future, maybe even your country. So I'm curious to see how you feel about this. And do you think this is a wise decision right now? It'll be, to answer your question, though, I want to take a moment to say this. People are saying, well, how is this going to happen? How am I going to get the money? So you're saying that you're probably going to get this in the form of a check or a debit card, probably sometime in August. So if you're in California, definitely look for that. And I guess congratulations, because it looks like you're going to probably be getting money from the state pretty soon. It's going to be decided at the end of the week. But so far, it looks like all indications of what we were reading looks like this thing is going to pass. So, yeah, that's what that is. I see comments coming in. Vicky is saying, sounds like we are walking the British footsteps. Really interesting. We'd like to see that, and really interested to hear more about that. And I do see one comment saying, I'm in California and does not help us. So, I think that's the thing. I think when they outline these sort of decisions, right, these new initiatives, these tax rebates and refunds, there's always going to be two sides of every decision. Whether or not you think it's a positive or not, I think it really depends on who it is you're talking to. I think many who are suffering and maybe struggling because of income limitations, or maybe just got laid off, or really feeling the pressures of inflations on their household budget, maybe larger families. I'm guessing the 1,050 could be really meaningful for that first tier, but maybe I'm wrong. So definitely put in comments. Let me know what you think. I think this is something that we're just learning, and as I get more information, I'll share that with you. But this is what we're hearing so far. So definitely, thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, watching, sharing your comments, and watching the program. So do me a favor, take a moment to share this show with someone that you care about. Share it on social. And as a reminder, you can find full episodes of Level Up with Winnie Sun on NASDAQ, KBCW, Amazon Fire, and Roku. And we're excited to share, of course, that Yes Factor, brand new podcast on the LinkedIn Podcast Network, is available everywhere that you tune in to podcasts. And with that, be well. I can't wait to see you again tomorrow. Take care, my friends.